Good morning, guys. This morning we're talking about how to determine word meaning of words we don't know using context clues. Now, we've talked about context clues several times this year. We've talked about understanding characters using context clues. We have talked about understanding words using context clues, but I just wanted to kind of revisit it and really talk about the specific kinds of context clues that an author might use to help you determine what a word means when you don't know. So over here on the right, we have a cool chart that I actually think I have in my classroom that has some examples of how you can figure out what a word means. So looking at our chart, around the sides, we have 5 different ways that an author might give you clues to understand a word. The first one is they might just give you the definition right there in the sentence. For example, the fox is timid. He is shy and easily frightened. Right there, they told us what timid meant. We didn't have to do a lot of thinking. We just had to read. That one's kind of the easiest one. We may have word parts. Now, word parts are usually suffixes or prefixes, which is, as you can see on the word helpful or rewrite, helpful, F-U-L, full, is a suffix. Rewrite, R-E, is a prefix. So it tells us somebody is full of help, or rewrite means to write again. So sometimes, or the root word. And I know in my class we've had a couple conversations with words where I say, what word do you hear in this word? That would be like a root word. Equivalent fractions, root word being equal. So that helps us to remember that when we're making equivalent fractions, we're making 2 fractions that are equal value. Antonyms. The fox, antonyms means the opposite. The fox is timid. He is nothing like the brave goats that eat from my hand. So if he is timid and he's nothing like the brave goats, that means he's the opposite of brave. Sometimes also when we're looking at antonyms, the author will use comma but, because but is a conjunction that helps us to, I'm going to use a big fancy word right now, negate. Negate means to go against whatever we just said. If I say, it's beautiful outside, but it's kind of cold. I'm saying it's beautiful, but it's cold. And it being cold, depending on if you like the cold, may go against the idea of it being a beautiful day. So sometimes if you look for that comma but, what comes next will be the opposite of what came before. Synonyms is just the opposite of antonyms. So synonyms is the same. The fox is timid. He looks nervous hiding behind the tree. So they're letting you know that nervous is a synonym for timid. And sometimes, just like antonyms is comma but, synonyms would be comma and, because we know the word and puts 2 things together. I'm going to the park and to the mall. I'm going to go to both places. So and kind of brings ideas together. And then the last one, examples. When the author gives you a word and then he gives you an example of what that word might mean. So the fox is timid. He is like a mouse that hides. So if you hear the word like, such as, or even sometimes they'll say for example, you know that what's coming next is a good idea of what you're looking for. I'm going to attach this chart to the video. I would love for you to write this down in your reading notebook. You do not have to make it look like this. You can just make a list. Definition, the example. Word parts, the example. It doesn't have to be a real pretty anchor chart, but it's really good to have when you're trying to work on finding context clues and finding word meaning.